Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto Had the Deadliest Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Broken by the people that he loved over in Anime King, and enjoy that guys. And also, stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over and making 2, which I hope you guys enjoy. And if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, and making 2 and making 3, which I post what if I'm investing a day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the making family. And thank you for all for your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, would you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, as Naruto and the others were stunned by this person that suddenly appeared on the bridge, Kakashi was knocked away so violently he didn't stand a chance. As Naruto urged Sakura and Sasuke to run with Tazuna, he knew he had to as he used Sasuke's arrogance against him, telling him that if any bandits are along the way, he would be able to handle them. As Sakura didn't want to go as she knew that leaving Naruto here with this man was suicide. But Naruto pleaded for them to go, as she steeled herself as they made their way off. As Naruto stayed behind, as he faced off against this unknown man, Kakashi jumped back in the fray, but the man dealt with Kakashi like he was nothing. Well, the man was beyond A rank, going into the depths of S rank it seems. As Naruto saw him manipulating blood, as Naruto activated his eyes, the man and him clashed as the man noticed his eyes. The man was shocked. He then revealed his identity. It was Natsu, Uzumaki, as Naruto couldn't believe it, as he said some words to Naruto that shocked Naruto. You either live to see your dreams come true, or live long enough to see yourself turn to the enemy, which he had. As the man was able to subdue Kakashi in the worst way possible, he pinned him down to the ground, using his blood as rods to stab Kakashi in the ground. As Naruto went feral, he tapped into the four of the fox. As Naruto started to attack the man with everything that he had, but Natsu, being an Uzumaki, he was well adept in his sealing arts, as he sealed away Naruto's animalistic form by trapping the fox chakra out of his system. Not only that, he said that Naruto wasn't using the armor properly, as he was able to quickly slice through it. Despite slicing through the armor though, it repaired itself rather quickly, but Naruto still got the attacks underneath his skin. Natsu ended up stabbing Naruto in the heart, but Naruto's body reacted to his blood and absorbed it to heal the scar tissue on his heart. He realized that he couldn't kill Naruto so easily, so he ended up sealing Naruto's chakra as Naruto felt so weak he could barely move. He picked Naruto up and brought him towards the edge of the bridge. He promised him that he won't kill his friends. He's been waiting for a long time now, so it doesn't matter if the Nine Tails die. In a couple of years it will reform, and that will be better than having it in some brat that it will be hard to hunt down because the village will keep him locked away. So he dropped Naruto in the river. As Naruto sank, he fought for his life, but he was dying. It was then that Gato came. As Natsu turned towards him, Gato had brought his man just in case. It was a betrayal it seems. So Natsu ripped them apart and incinerated their body. After getting all the money from Gato, Gato thought the man was going to kill him, but Natsu severed his head off. Guy had Kim rushed in there as Kakashi was able to muster his strength to summon Pakon, as Guy was holding on to a medic named from the hospital that quickly got to work on Kakashi. Sakura had came there back with Sasuke. As Sasuke was looking around, as both him and Guy went towards the edge where they saw the blood, Guy dived into the water. Moments later he came up with Naruto. As Guy rushed him back towards the medic, Kakashi told her to stop and work on Naruto, as Naruto was pale, even more so than usual. He was not breathing. She tried to resuscitate him, but there was nothing. Meanwhile, as Naruto was speaking to the giant 90th fox, who told him to focus and not give up, the fox wasn't so sure about his rebirth because only half of him was still awake inside Naruto. So he cursed Naruto to not give up, as Naruto's self-doubt was the one keeping him locked away like this. As Naruto realized that many people that he come to know so far would be sad if he died, and he couldn't allow that. As he focused, he forced himself as his blood started to react, pumping his heart. The Midi was astonished by this development. She'd never seen something like this, because she was sure that he was dead a moment ago, and now he revived himself. Gato was now dead, so the villagers were at peace. It didn't take too long for the bridge to be finished. Although Naruto was struggling with the idea that he almost drowned to death, but he barely let it show, so most people didn't notice. They went back to the village, as Naruto had gained a more deeper bond with Sakura and Sasuke as friends since the whole ordeal. Almost dying can do that to you, so he decided to tell them about his bloodline. As Naruto told Sarutobi that it was not so, as Sarutobi was shocked by that. So yeah guys, those basically as left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So this begins a new episode. We begin this new episode in Konoha at the hospital. It was currently late in the night. A doctor named Aiko, she was on the night shift, and she was currently making her way. A team of Chunins had recently been on a mission when they were facing off against some missing links. They got badly hurt and they need a blood transfusion, as she quickly made her way down the hall. This was not something new to her. Sometime late at night they just burst in. After all, being a ninja wasn't an easy thing. As she made her way towards where the blood supplies were kept, as she unlocked the door, making her way inside, looking for the blood type B. She turned around as she heard something, but there was no one there. She ignored that as she went back to doing what she was doing. She got what she came for, as she brought it back out. She stopped as she placed on the crate of blood and locked the door. She then turned back. To her shock and confusion, the blood was gone. She didn't understand what was going on. She slapped her face, as she wondered if she did take out the blood in the first place. Today has been a rather hectic day. Perhaps she was... As she looked around, there was absolutely no one here. She went back inside. As she heard something, she snapped around, but there was no one there. As she turned back, she saw the crate. There it was. That means she hallucinated all of that. As she filled the crate once again. This time, she kept an eye on it as she locked the door, as she quickly made her way up, confused about the whole endeavor that was happening. Time skip. The next day, Harrison was in his office. He was going over some reports. The teams had been performing nicely lately. It has been 2.5 months since the attack of what happened at the Land of Wave. Luckily, all of them survived, and the bridge was finished. Harrison was really concerned about Naruto. He had even brought Naruto to have a psychiatrical evaluation test by Inoichi. Inoichi checked everything as he seemed fine, as Harrison had made sure of that as he was there watching behind the window, as Naruto answered all the questions correctly and calmly. Harrison was confused and surprised. How did being drowned in the water not affect your mental state? It was like Naruto was a veteran shinobi. He was just a young child. He hasn't been through so much yet. He had his chakras sealed off. He could not access it, and he was being drowned. That was a horrible state for anyone, but yet, the test had went off without a hitch. There was no psychiatrical damage. It was like Inoichi could enter Naruto's mind, given what resided inside of him. But the test had came back fruitful, and for that Harrison was relief. Naruto had also informed his teammates about his abilities. He did not tell them about what the report said about Natsu. As of right now, Harrison believed that somehow Naruto would be able to be different from Natsu. There hasn't been any news, any pop-up of that man. It was like he vanished off the face of the earth. But he was indeed real, from what Harrison heard from Kakashi and the team. And it seems like he was a S-rank shinobi. After all, the way he handled Kakashi, it can show how strong he was. Harrison didn't want to send Team 7 out on any missions that was outside the Land of Fire. So for the month and a half, They remain inside the line of fire, doing missions for Daimyo and here and there, but nothing that spanned past line of fire. But so far there has been nothing coming from this man. It was like he just vanished. So the team was able to enjoy their missions once again by going out of the line of fire. Hiruzen was also happy that Naruto made friends. It seems like the almost death situation had created a bond between Team 7, and he was happy for that. He was happy for Naruto. Although there was some business concerning the young Kunoichi and the team though. Regarding Kurenai. Kurenai was a genjutsu mistress of the village. She had no one to pass her art onto, because her team was basically focused on their family style of fighting. But Sakura Haruno was from a civilian family. The girl had asked Kurenai for aid. She didn't have that much chakra, so she had perfect control. That put her up above certain people in genjutsu already. Kurenai had put it hard on the girl to see if she was ready, as she didn't want to waste her time. But the girl had proven that she was ready for anything that she threw at her. As Hiruzen had saw it, ever since the mission the girl looked downcast. She felt useless as she wasn't able to do anything to help her teammates. So she started to dive into the art of genjutsu. Kakashi was helping her here and there, but when it come towards genjutsu, Kurenai knew best. And Sakura Haruno had become a protege of hers. When they find the time, she helped her. Hiruzen was glad for that. Sasuke and Naruto's sparked a rivalry between them, as Sasuke would not be outdone by Naruto no matter what. He was glad to see that everything was going along perfectly. The Chunin exams are coming up. He was sure that Kakashi would nominate his team. After all, in terms of this year's genuine team, they were the best. The team was currently out. They were escorting the Princess of Hill Country back to her home. Meanwhile, Hiruzen was thinking about that at his private training ground. Inside of the space-time dimension stood a boy. His eyes were closed. He was not moving. He was so still you would think that he was a statue. The place was perfect, the environment simulated the real world outside. After all, the wind was blowing. You could hear birds chirping. It was a natural feel. Well, most of the things were conducted by seals, but still, the space-time world was amazing. The privacy from the outside world, the train has your heart content. And inside stood one. Naruto Uzumaki's eyes were closed. He did not even open his eyes as kunais and shurikens were launched towards him from all sides. They came in so fast they whipped through the air. He twisted his body, his fingers clicking, as it seemed like the blood flow was moving through his body at such a fast rate. When he twists and dodged everything past him, they stabbed into the ground and stabbed into the trees. As he flipped in mid-air, someone then came dropping down from the heaven. It was another Naruto. He had a giant mallet in his arm. The mallet was made from nothing but blood. Yet, as Naruto dodged as it made contact with the earth, it was torn apart. The thing was as tough as steel. The mallet quickly melted away to create several piercing shurikens. The tips of them were long. The clone raised his hand as it launched forward. With his eyes still closed, he twists. As he grabbed one of them mid-air, he then threw it back at the clone. The clone saw it coming and ducked before slamming his hand on the ground. A wall of earth shot up in front of Naruto. As he jumped, the moment he did, a massive red flame was coming towards him. He then realized that he was surrounded. Flames from all the other sides, from the other clones that came out of the woodwork. The flames all united around him like a circle, as they were going to boil him alive. It was at that moment that he opened his eyes. Blood art, raging tornado. As Naruto twirled, his body got encased. The blood came around him like a wave before twirling into a literal tornado. The fireball slammed into it, but the tornado was unaffected. As Naruto dropped in the tornado and held out his hand. Blood art. Blood bullet, he said. As blood bullets shot from the tornado, the clones weren't spared as it scoured the entire area. Only one of them escaped the barrage, using another one to jump on his back and flip over. As he quickly brought out a blade and drive it towards Naruto as the tornado dissipated. As Naruto tilted just in time, the blade passed in his face. He then twists and delivers a sizable kick to the clone's stomach that sent him sailing as he crashed into a tree. But the clone picked himself back up as he wiped the blood away from his mouth. Guess I can't get you that easy, huh? The clone blinked as Naruto was behind him. Up in the air as he brought down a leg, the clone blocked it. The ground shattered under his feet as Naruto twisted and drive a kick towards his stomach. But the clone grabbed Naruto's leg and yanked him before slamming his head into Naruto's. Their forehead connected as the both of them staggered back. The clone recuperated quicker, it seems, as he slammed his hand on the ground. Earth style. Trembling earthquake. The ground shake as it knocked Naruto off balance. The clone used that to sunshine right behind Naruto as he grabbed Naruto by the shirt and yanked him down. A fist or the sides up right to Naruto's face. At the last moment though, Naruto twisted his arm and flipped the clone over as he dropped him to the earth. The earth cracked as the clone coughed up blood. As Naruto kicked him, he launched backwards. He flipped and landed on his feet as the both of them flashed through hand sign. Blood art. Rising serpent. As two massive serpents emerged. They hissed at each other before diving as they twirled around each other and exploded. Both of them shot through the raining blood that came down. Their fists connected with a boom. As Naruto grabbed his clone fist in his other hand, the clone tried to punch him but he flipped him over. This time Naruto left no opening as he delivered several strikes to his stomach. The clone staggered as Naruto kicked him in the side of the face, launching him backwards as Naruto appeared above him and drive him into the ground. The clone dropped with a boom as Naruto dropped with a leg out. Boom! The entire training ground exploded as Naruto's leg had been enhanced to the point where his kicks had so much force it decimated this area of the earth. As Naruto stood there, the clone was bleeding badly as he got back up to his feet, but before that he dropped to his knees as he panted. He then dropped back on his back lying down. I can't go anymore, he said as Naruto walked over. Good job, he said. I still lost, the clone said. Well, I am the original. Yeah. Screw you, the clone said as the both of them chuckled at that as Naruto placed hand on the clone's chest. The clone burst into blood and absorbed, ate Naruto's skin as Naruto wiped the sweat away from his brow. As he was all sweaty, he wasn't wearing his armor. As he lifted up his shirt, his skin was black and blue as he slowly started to heal, fighting off so many of his clone. Well, the original had summoned the others. That was not an ordinary clone, it was a blood clone. A forbidden jutsu. It was out there in the world, but people did not use it because of the risk that came with it. It took a sizable amount of your blood and left you lightheaded if you didn't have enough. Especially if you were in a battle and you were fighting, losing a lot of blood, you should not use it or you will die. But being someone of Naruto caliber, who had enough blood, he could summon them, well, only 2 at a time. At the moment though, one of them were out on a mission with Kakashi and his team. That seemed rather irresponsible of Naruto for sending that clone out, but these clones were special, considering the fact that even if the original was knocked out, the clone would not poof away. You had to kill it. The only way it would go away was death, and even in death it wouldn't go away. Its body would lay there until the original cancelled the jutsu, but the blood would be wasted. But if the clone was still active and you cancelled the jutsu, you could absorb back the blood in your body. But it was still a big risk because if it died, all of that blood would be lost. It was strong enough to hold its own on the C and D rank missions that Team 7 was getting. As Naruto hadn't been out on a mission in the past 2 months. For the first weeks, he was going on mission with Team 7. But he needed more time to train. A part of Naruto felt humiliated. It might not look it, but from what happened to him, he has changed. As he remembered the cold feeling of his body going numb, struggling to breathe. As Naruto started to sweat as he remembered that feeling, dying under the water. He could barely move. The mask and not so wear kept on haunting him in his dreams. as Naruto vowed to himself to never, ever let that happen again. No matter what the situation, that would never happen again. So he's been training non-stop. Not even Hiruzen knew about this because Naruto did not take the normal way to get here. He's also been focused on Fuinjutsu. He wasn't a master or anything, but he knew a few things already, like create his own explosives. Not to mention, he had go into the art of space-time ninjutsu, a teleportation ability, just like his father. He knew by now that his father was a Portokage. He was able to speak to the fox. The fox did not confirm or tell him anything, but the fox did tell him that on that night, the red-haired woman and the blonde was trying to protect the baby, and he had went in to kill him, but he was stopped by them. As Naruto realized that the fox was the one to kill his parents, he was angry. No, he was livid. But after a while he had calmed down, because some things didn't make sense. There was a lot of gaps open in the fox story. Like how did he reach in the village, in the midst of the village like that? Given the fact that they weren't there when his mother was giving birth. And not to mention, why did he attack the village in the first place? He didn't have an answer for that. So Naruto knew that he was keeping something from him. But he was pissed off that the fox was the one that took his parents. But as he thought about it, if he was sealed away for so long, and realized that he was going to be sealed away again, he would try to kill whoever he was going to be sealed inside of. There was no excuse, but he could understand the point that the fox was going through. But that still didn't leave him angry, as he had not spoken to the fox for some time. The fox didn't seem keen on speaking to him either, so that was a win-win situation. Well, Naruto wanted to know more. He wanted to know why the fox attacked in the first place. What happened that night? He was sure that the old man was not going to tell him. He had asked Kakashi about the question because he knew that Kakashi would inform the Hokage, and the old man would come to him, he thought. But the old man did not say anything, he faked ignorance. All this time, everyone had been lying to him. Kakashi was his father's student, so he must have known. And the old man has to know. Yet they didn't feel like it was wise to tell him anything. He was angry at them, but he never let it show. He was pissed off. He was able to fake his evaluation well, although he was suffering inside with the nightmares of being drowned over and over again. But that is what is pushing him to move forward and get stronger no matter what, as he picked himself up. As for his space-time ninjutsu, it wasn't like his father, but at least that he could teleport with it. He had marked his house, and also marked inside of the space-time era here. He could teleport there and back here. It took a lot of tries. If he didn't have the fox inside of him, he would have died, because he had went wrong, and he almost got torn in half. He had lied here, bleeding out to death. If it wasn't the fox saving him, he would have died a long time ago, and no one would have known because Hiruzen did not know that he was skipping missions and doing this. His body almost got severed in half when he first attempted to teleport to his home. He was lucky that the fox was here, or he would have died. As Naruto picked himself up and went over towards the sigil on the ground, it was a large seal. He had to find a way to make it smaller, or it would not work. He put everything back into place. Hiruzen never knew that he was here as he stepped inside the seal. He went through at least 10 hand signs. As he said, he wasn't really a master, so he couldn't just do it off the bat. Before pumping his chakra into the seal, it glowed blue. He didn't vanish. The next moment he stood in his apartment as he went to take a shower. Time skip. At the office, Hiruzen was doing some more paperwork until he felt something flash towards the window. "It took you long enough," Hiruzen said, as someone stepped in with a smirk on their face. "I told you I had to get some information that took you months to return back." "Well, it was a long exploit." "You know what I think," Hiruzen said. "You are afraid. Now that the kid has grown, and you have the prospect of nurturing him, you're afraid of if he finds out in the end what he would say." "That obvious, huh?" said Jiraiya to Sannin, the Toad Sage, who was the godfather of Naruto Uzumaki, was afraid. After all, he had abandoned a kid. After Minato and Kushina died, he had left. He didn't look after the kid even though he was his godfather. Even though the kid did not know that. Perhaps one day the truth will come out. How would he face him? What would he tell him? That he was out gathering information for Konoha? He could have returned. Most times he was not doing anything, just doing research, and that involved peeping on ladies. From what Hiruzen had told him, Naruto was a smart kid, so it wouldn't be easy to trick him. How's he doing? Well, judging from recent reports, you did get it right? Yeah. But I have not seen this guy or even hear a whisper about him. From the description that I've gotten, I've asked my spies but there's been nothing. Well, he has been hiding for the past couple of years, Hiruzen said, so I'm sure that he wouldn't show himself. To think that Uzumaki survived. More or less. With an unknown bloodline that we rarely know anything about. But the kid has it as well. So perhaps we can learn a weakness or some sorts. From what I've seen so far, there is none, Hiruzen said. And this guy. He was able to take down Kakashi like it was nothing. Kakashi was able to estimate that he was probably S rank. Or even Sannin rank. That's wrong, huh? Said Jiraiya, as he scratched the bottom of his nose. Well, it doesn't matter. If he tries to come after the kid again, this time I'll be here. And it won't be that easy. Well, let's just make sure he stays in hiding for a long while. Until Naruto is able to fully defend himself. Speaking about that, I wanted to teach him a few things. But how would I approach a subject? Jiraiya said. That's for you to find out, Hiruzen said. Come on, Sensei. I can't help you there, Jiraiya. I told you already, Naruto is a smart kid. He will find it rather strange that legendary Sannin will be just helping him for nothing at all. Yeah, you're right about that. He does know about the fox, correct? As Hiruzen nodded. Well, think I might have a plan. Before that though, said Hiruzen. The information? Oh yeah. Things have been quiet lately. From the sand. From the stone. Kiri has been on lockdown. I'm not too sure myself what is going on. But the whispers I've told you about is getting more intense. That there's actually a civil war going on. The Mizukage, Yager, is killing all the bloodline users. Why would he do something like that? Hiruzen said, confused. On that, Sensei, I have no idea, said Jiraiya. But I'll get some more information. As for the Land of Lightning, it seems that they will be participating in this year's Chunin exams. Is that so, said Hiruzen. For the past couple of past Chunin exams, they haven't been involved in himself. Why now? I'm not sure myself, said Jiraiya. But it's just rumors here and there now. But I doubt they want to start anything. Given the incident with the Hyugas, I doubt they just want to pop up for Chunin exams alone. As Jiraiya nodded at that, what about the stone? They've been awfully quiet. And I mean really quiet. There has been absolutely nothing about them. So nothing there. The sand has been quiet as well. If you ask me, I feel like something is brewing. But I'll find it out, after all. I am the best spy master in the entire elemental nation. If you say so, said Hiruzen. As Jiraiya eye twitched, doubting my skill, Sensei? I never said that. What about him? As Jiraiya face went somber at that. The last I heard, he was seen in the land of Rice Field. And they have taken on a ninja village. Yes, you told me that. The land of sound, said Hiruzen. You think he's behind it? Asked Hiruzen. I'm not sure, said Jiraiya. But in due time everything will come out to the light. And I will find out, he said. You do that, said Hiruzen. At that very moment, there was a knock on the door. As Jiraiya went to sit by the window, enter, Hiruzen said. As Team 7 entered the room. As Jiraiya was surprised, he never expected him. Jiraiya glanced towards the blonde. Jiraiya could not see his eyes. His hair came down his face. As he saw the blonde glance towards him. Ah, Team 7, said Hiruzen. As Kakashi handed over the scroll. Another successful mission, I see. as Kakashi gave Jiraiya a nod. As Jiraiya greeted him back with a nod. As Jiraiya watched the blonde boy. As Hiruzen was talking to Kakashi. He could not see his eyes, but he was sure that he was looking at him. Jiraiya feigned ignorance. It was then that he saw the boy coming towards him. "Naruto," said Sakura, confused where he was going. But he ignored her as he walked towards Jiraiya. "What's up, kid?" said Jiraiya, as he looked down towards him. "You're Jiraiya of the Sannin, aren't you?" "Of the Sannin?" said Sakura. "He's one of the legendary Sannins," as she took a better look. She knew of them, of course. One of them had turned enemy of the village. But there was also the most powerful Kunoichi amongst them. Someone that she wished that she could train under. Lady Snatty, the best healer in the Elemental Nation. Sasuke glanced towards Naruto. What was he trying to do? To get a Sannin to train him? To get one over on him once again? Well, not on his watch. As he watched keenly, listened to every word that Naruto might said. "Yep, that's me," said Jiraiya. "I am." "Is it true that you're a Steel Master?" said Naruto, cutting Jiraiya off. Jiraiya signed defeat. "You destroy my introduction, kid," he said. "You already told me that you are him," said Naruto. "Well, that's not the point," Jiraiya said, as he sighed. "Well, yes, I am. In terms of a Uzumaki Sealing Master. How far are you?" said Naruto. Said Jiraiya. "The Uzumaki," said Naruto. "They were known as the world's best Sealing Masters. In terms of them, how far up the scale do you say you are?" "Well, I'm pretty good," Jiraiya said, "but in terms of Uzumaki, when it comes towards the best of the best, they outshine me in that era. After all, that was their main thing." "Do you know why I'm a Uzumaki?" said Naruto. "You're Uzumaki?" said Jiraiya, feigning ignorance. "You don't know of me," Naruto asked. "Should I? You're not like some powerful ninja and all. You're just a kid," Jiraiya said. As Naruto smiled, a smile that confused Jiraiya, as he walked back towards his team. "What was all that about?" Sakura asked. "Oh, I just wanted to meet one of the Sannin," said Naruto. "Oh," she said, as Hiruzen dismissed the group. Once they were outside, Kakashi bade them farewell, to meet up tomorrow once again for team training. Kakashi flashed away as he appeared on top of a roof, as he looked down towards them. His team has been getting along a lot well. Team training was actually going good. Sakura certainly improved in certain areas. He was helping her with her stamina, and helping her to increase her chakra flow. But Kurenai was her main teacher, teaching her genjutsu. Back down towards the kids. "Well, see you guys," said Sakura, as she had some lessons to get from Kurenai, who told her that her team would be staying in the village today, so she was supposed to come and find her right after her missions. "Yeah," said Naruto and Sasuke, as Sakura gave them a smile and went off. Sakura made her way as she was happy. Things were going good. Sasuke was talking to her, as she realized that if she focused on training and didn't hassle him so much, he would actually talk to her, which he was doing, and it was just amazing. And she also kind of felt bad for really not paying much attention to Naruto all the time throughout the academy. She didn't know why people ignore him. He was really nice, not to mention, he kind of became one of her close friends. She didn't know when it happened, but they became good friends. She and Sasuke wasn't exactly, well, that friendly as her and Naruto, but they were getting there. And she just enjoyed being on her team with her friends. She wouldn't give it up for anything. She had met up with Ino Pig though, and she had spoke about Naruto in their conversation. Ino had no idea who she was talking about. Naruto really did not draw much attention to himself. Well, she supposed that was good in certain areas, but still, Ino was one of the biggest gossips, and she didn't even know who Naruto was. He was even flying under her radar. That was rather surprising. And Sakura made her way to go and find Kurenai Sensei. Meanwhile, with Naruto and Sasuke. "So," said Naruto, "you want to do a bit of extra training?" "No," said Sasuke. "Why is that?" Naruto asked. "Because I'm gonna go train on my own. I have something special working on that I'll use to kick your ass," Sasuke said. "Is that so?" said Naruto. "And what exactly is it?" "Oh, it's..." Sasuke paused. "Wait, what the hell did I tell you?" "It's gonna be a surprise." Something that will shock you. Oh well then, said Naruto. Guess we'll see. I also have something working on as well. It doesn't matter, Sasuke said. You still lose. As Naruto chuckled at that. Well then, I guess I better get going. As Sasuke made his way off, Sasuke walked. As it was strange. Things had been going well. He didn't know what happened, but since that mission to the wave, he himself had been, well, not bothered by certain things. Usually, everything got on his nerves. But Team 7 wasn't being so irritable and anger him. And Naruto's actually proven to be a good rival. To help him strengthen himself, he didn't know when that happened. He still had to get his revenge for what his brother did. But the thought of revenge was not so much on his mind lately. And that was surprising to him. Because before coming on Team 7, that was all he think about, all he thought about, day in, day out. But now it wasn't so much more on his mind. But it was still there. And that was the whole reason why he was getting stronger. Well, and he had to be stronger than Naruto as well. After all, they were rivals. Meanwhile, as Naruto made his way home, when he arrived home he saw the original. How did things go, Naruto asked. Pretty well. I met the Sannin. Is that so? The clone came over. As he placed a hand on his shoulder, he dispersed as the blood flew into Naruto with all the memories. As Naruto sat there, going through the day, the mission, and the talk with the Sannin, after that he picked himself up as he made his way towards his fridge. As Naruto bit his finger and wiped his blood over the fridge to unseal it. He had a seal over the fridge because he couldn't just let anyone, if anyone come here, open it freely. The reason being, as he looked inside, there was blood bags. As Naruto stood there, not moving, he just looked towards him. He didn't know what happened. First it started out simple. He had made his way to one of the training grounds, where he had saw a small rabbit. The instinct had kicked in, and he had feasted on the rabbit. He felt horrible, he had puke after that. He didn't want to be this monster. But little by little, he started to give in. And animal blood wasn't knocked it anymore, so he had to go for human blood. So he went to the hospital and stole these. It gave him a rush, not to mention it made him feel more powerful. The more he consumed, the more his own blood filled and built the nutrients, the iron. He was becoming more powerful. He was sure that he could stop at any moment, but yet he couldn't find himself not drinking at least one bag a day. That was as far as he'd go though, one bag. As he bit into it, he didn't stop. As he moved towards his mirror, close in the fridge, he reached in his mouth and tapped his teeth. His teeth had extended on their own. His canines had bit into the blood bag. He had read up more about the myth. He was surprised when he found a book at the library about vampire. It was a story though, a fictional story from the past. But it described exactly what he was. But what he saw in that book frightened him. The unending lust. The urge to feed and tear your opponents. As he looked towards the blood bag, what it said, that he would no longer be able to sustain himself. With nothing except for the warm, dripping from the veins. He knew exactly what that meant, but he refused to give in. He refused to become the monster that Natsu became. As Naruto clenched his fist at that name, as he bit into the blood bag and started to drink. In one fell swoop it was done. As he made his way towards the kitchen sink and placed it inside, he went through Hansen and released a small flame as he burned it into nothingness. He went over to his bed and dropped down. Naruto entered his mindscape as he arrived in front of the fox. The fox growled as it saw him. "What do you want?" "Answer," said Naruto. "Well, I'm not gonna tell you anything, so you better get going. Why not, said Naruto. I've never done anything to you. Keeping me here, locked up. That isn't anything. I can't let you leave. I've read about it. If you leave me, I die. But I'm sure that you don't care about that. But I want to live, said Naruto. Why? You're afraid that you'll become a monster. So why not just die before you become one? As Naruto stepped forward, for someone who has lived for so long, I'm surprised that you're still angry at the world. What? If I had lived as long as you, most things wouldn't get me angry anymore. So I'm confused why you're still angry. I know you don't want to be sealed away, but it is a situation that we found ourselves in. Alright, I'll make you a deal. I'm currently working on Fuinjutsu. I'm still at level 2 in the book. And that is just the basic of Fuinjutsu when it comes to our spatial teleportation. Because the monkeys are really advanced, Naruto thought to himself. Their level 2 was spatial travel. As he could only imagine what their level 10 was. The book was tricky. Whenever he went to the last page, it was blank. He had to first pass the first levels to go up. And it was strange. It had a blank page where he had to write out the seal. And he had to do it perfectly. If he did not, it will zap him. But if he did, he would pass on to the next level. By the end of the week, he should be able to move on to level 3. As he could only wonder what level 3 was. Get to the point, Kurama said. I'll free you, said Naruto. The fox narrowed his eyes at him. Once we're done. What do you mean once we're done? I still need your power. The day you lent me your power, I felt the rush. It was incredible. And I need it. For one thing only, and it's to kill that man. Still holding a grudge, I see. Being drowned underwater, unable to do anything, was suffering for me. And I will not stop until I hunt him down, and I kill him. That is why. I want to make a deal. To take my power. No, said Naruto. I'm asking for your power. Help me. And once I'm done with all of this, I'll free you. And why would you do that? Because I keep on telling myself that I won't become the monster that I read about so much. But Natsu was like me, and yet he became the monster that he is now. I keep on saying that I will stop, but I can't. The blood bags are getting irresistible. That my mind is constantly thinking about them. And at the same point, they're getting disgusting to me. It's not warm enough. You want from the vein, Kurama said. Exactly, said Naruto. So by the time I'm done with Natsu, I should have my affairs in order. What do you mean by that? Well, I told you I don't want to become the monster that those books said. So, there's no point of dying and taking you with me if you hold up your end of the bargain. Kurama narrowed his eyes. So you plan to kill yourself, he asks. To not become the monster that you know you will become. Pathetic. What? Said Naruto. I thought you were all for it. Giving up so easy. That's pathetic. Well, you might say that, said Naruto. But I don't want to kill my friends. If one day I can't control myself. So do we have a deal or not? I just need a couple of years. I mean, you've been sealed away for a long time now. So what's a couple more years to you? You are the most powerful Biju in history. And years are nothing to you. You're immortal. Or are you not the strongest? You better watch him out, brat. Or I'll rip you apart. As the fox got up on his feet, I'm the strongest Biju of them all. And you, a small, petulant child, want to make a deal with me? How do I know that you will keep your word? Humans are despicable. And always lying. Naruto stepped forward. The fox watched calmly as Naruto stepped through the bar. The fox looked down at him as Naruto looked up at him before walking forward. The fox was too stunned to say anything as he just watched Naruto. As Naruto approached one of his paws, As he started to climb up, Naruto climbed straight up towards the fox's face. The fox looked at him with a snarl. "You can't touch me in here," said Naruto. "At first I was afraid that if I passed the bars, you'll rip me to pieces. But no matter what you do, the seal will keep on holding you back. You won't be able to kill me." "I guess you are getting better at phone jutsu." The fox said that snarl, as Naruto looked him dead in the eyes. "I promise," he said. "Now, will you uphold your end of the bargain?" The fox flashed his face, throwing Naruto off, as he appeared in front of him with teeth, right in front of Naruto's face, as one of his teeth were bigger than Naruto. "If you do not uphold your end of the deal, I swear to you, I'll tear you to shreds." "As long as you don't try to corrupt me," said Naruto, "and help me, I won't go back on my promise." "Fine, we have a deal. Now leave." As Naruto gave him a nod, "Thank you," he said. "Stop thanking me. It weirds me out." As Naruto chuckled, "What's so funny? You think all humans are bad, but I'll prove to you we're not all that bad," said Naruto. As he started to walk away, he vanished. The fox sat down. "Stupid brat," he said. Time skip 2 days later. Kakashi told them to meet up with him in the evening at the bridge, their usual meeting spot. At the moment though, Naruto was making his way, walking down the street. He came to a stop though, as he saw there was a girl there. She looked to be older than him, probably 1 or 2 years. It's the first time he's seen her in Konoha. The reason being as he noticed her headband. That was not Konoha. It was, as he looked closer, the hidden cloud. She had blonde hair, but her hair was not as blonde as his. She was wearing a black shirt with dark grayish pants, gloves in her hands, fingerless gloves, with a bead in her hand. She looked to be lost. As she looked around confused. "Are you lost?" said Naruto. The girl turned her head as she looked towards the boy, who seemed to be younger than her, by a year or so. She shook her head no, as she turned like she was dismissing him. But he did not move. As she turned back towards him, "What do you want?" she asked. Her voice sounded rather subdued. "You're not from this village. You're just standing here," said Naruto. "I find your actions suspicious." As she tilted her head, "I'm not here to cause any harm," she said. "I'm waiting on someone." "Waiting on someone? Who might that be?" "Their identity doesn't concern you," she said. "The person will be back at any moment." "And why didn't you go with them?" "That does not concern you," she said once again. "You realize that you're in my village, correct?" said Naruto, as he looked towards her. "You're the one who came here trying to start problems." "Are all Konoha ninjas like this?" she said. As Naruto was looking at her, he was looking at her headband. Kumo. He remembered what the old man said. These were one of the villages that destroyed Osa, that killed his people. As he clenched his fists, she noticed that subtle action as she narrowed her eyes, but he released his palm. "Yujitos," the voice. As she turned, the voice sounded rather harsh. As Naruto turned his head, there was a guy standing there. He looked to be even older than her, as he looked to be either 16 or 17. Or perhaps he wasn't. It was because of his build. He was muscular, dark skin. He had blonde hair that was combed back. As his size dwarfed Naruto, he was large. But not that big, but he was bigger than Naruto. In all aspects, taller even. "I told you I would find a good place around here to eat, and that you should go find Sensei and reward your teammate. Why are you just standing here?" he asked. As Naruto looked towards her, she looked rather subdued, calmer than how she was a moment ago. "I got lost," she said. So he was right, she was indeed lost. What? Sensei told us where the Sannin building was. How could you have gotten lost? She just looked down. He shook his head. Stupid, he said. The blatant insult. But yet she did not react to that. She almost seemed like she deserved it. The way she acted. He then finally turned his eyes towards Naruto. Who the hell are you? He said. As Naruto looked towards him, as he would not respond to this person. Who greeted someone like that? Hey, I asked you a question. Naruto was surprised at this guy's bashfulness as he stepped forward in front of him. But Naruto continued to ignore him. The guy reached out and grabbed Naruto by the shirt. Don't you hear me talking to you, brat? As he talked, he kind of spat in Naruto's face. Because he was talking rather fast and loud. Naruto reached up to wipe the drip of spat that came on his face. As he looked back up at the guy, who still held on to the front of his shirt. Yujito narrowed her eyes as she watched this strange kid's arm. She saw red veins. Something was thrown as the guy reached and caught it. As he held onto the stone. If I were you, I would let him go, said the voice. The guy looked up and saw, as Sasuke stood right there. And who the hell are you? He asked. Someone. You should listen to us, said Sasuke. Now let go of my teammate, he said. Here to defend this brat, huh? Well, next time he should answer when someone speaks to him. Yujito watches the red veins, and the kid's arm vanish. As the man released him, as Naruto looked up at him. Yujito, let's go. Hey, said Naruto. Oh, so you can talk, the man said as he turned back to look towards Naruto. Who are you? Said Naruto. A smirk came on his face. A rather arrogant smirk. I don't deem you worthy to know my name. But I'll tell you one thing. About me. I am the son of the Raikage. So I'm not someone that you want to piss off. The son of the Raikage, huh? Said Naruto. Yeah. As he looked towards Naruto. So next time when I ask a question, you better answer, he said. Sasuke jumped down. Just because you're the Raikage's son, you think you can talk to anyone how you feel? Damn right I do, he said. Better watch your mouth before I shut it for you. I'd like to see you try, said Sasuke. These kids are really arrogant, he said, turning towards him. You people should know your place before I put you in your place. This is your last chance. Hey, Blondie, take your friend and leave. The Raikage doesn't mean crap in this village, said Sasuke. He knew that Naruto would not awkwardly say anything, so he had to be there to say something. So that title doesn't mean crap here. So we don't give a damn who you are. He moved. Sasuke blinked at the speed. As the guy reached out, I told you to watch your mouth. As he came in with a punch and knocked Sasuke away. But to his surprise, it was blocked. As Naruto stood in front of Sasuke, the guy blinked with confusion. As his hand was being held back by this brat. Stronger than I thought. Well, I suppose this year tuning exam will be better than expected. Hey, said Naruto. What, Blondie? I don't like to talk to arrogant people, especially those I don't know. But you attacking Konoha ninjas like this, that's a stupid move. Well, you have no evidence, there's no witnesses. Who are you gonna tell? I can just deny it. Oh, you misunderstand me, said Naruto. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you to watch what you're doing. Huh? And what if I don't? As Naruto smiled a bit, as he looked back up. Attack my friend again, and I'll kill you. Bold actions. Seems like you don't understand what being the Raikage's son means. And I'm not talking about political power. My father is one of the fastest men in this world. That's a big shoes to fill. So do you really think that you have the power, the capability of killing me? You know I don't need to defend me, right? Said Sasuke. As he turned towards Naruto. You were doing the same for me, said Naruto. So I figure. Well, you always keep quiet in certain times. So they might think that you're weak, Sasuke said. Let them, said Naruto. Hey, I'm talking to you! As Naruto turned towards him. Before turning back towards Sasuke, shall we go meet up with Sensei, he said. As the man clenched his fist in rage. Stop. He turned towards Yujito. What? We shouldn't be causing an incident. As she pointed, as he saw there was a few ninjas walking by. Huh, you got lucky, brat. But you won't be so lucky in tuning exams. I'll see you there. Come on, Yujito, he said. As she made her way with him. As Naruto glanced back at her. But guys, be interested right here. If you want the next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification I posted. But I'm off now, see you guys soon. Peace.